New Hampshire's a small state, but there's lots to do if you enjoy the outdoors. You can be at the ocean to experience some of the most beautiful coastline in New England, but New Hampshire's crown jewels are the White Mountains. Here at the northern end of the Appalachians, the White Mountains cover about 25% of the state of New Hampshire. The tallest peak is Mount Washington, which is the most prominent peak east of the Mississippi. We were heading up for 3 days of camping and hiking with friends. Even way up here, the July heat was pretty intense. We used our usual setup of a sturdy Columbia tent and a collapsible awning as a vestibule. Everything came together easily, and we were fully set up in under an hour. The campsite at Moose Brook State Park, just north of Mount Washington, was epic. We had great views of the surrounding mountains right from our tent. I was able to fly my drone and get some cool footage. The next day we went for a hike to explore some clean streams in the nearby mountains. As we've not had much rain lately, the streams were very clear. The sounds of the rushing water all around us were fantastic. Even Rocky went in for a dip. We hiked at a comfortable pace, and we weren't carrying heavy packs, so this really was a pleasure. You could just feel the stress melt away. Later that day, back at camp, we set about making dinner, which is always a big deal when camping. We decided to cook over the fire instead of using the stove, and it made the task of cooking much more interesting. We looked out over the mountains while the seasoned chicken sizzled over the hardwood fire. The smells were delicious. Graham tended the fire. We slept well that night, and on the next day, we had a nice lazy morning at the campsite. Our friends had to leave early that day, so we just hung around, made some breakfast. I flew my drone and got some cool footage of the mountains nearby. Then Graham and I decided to brave the icy waters of the crystal clear pond at Moose Brook State Park. There were lots of little tadpoles when you waded in, and they just scurried away. Once we got used to it, we made a few dramatic jumps from a nearby bridge into the water. The rustic structures nearby reflected off the still water. We've been in some really epic campsites this summer, but this trip was the most enjoyable. Graham especially loved hanging around with his friend Liam. We had great mountains all around and a cozy little campsite tucked right into the trees. On our way home, we stopped at a ski area that had some live music and mountain rides that the kids really enjoyed. As we sipped cold beer and listened to the music, we all felt very lucky to live here in New Hampshire.
Thank you.